You are listening to the #1 real estate podcast in the world, where we talk with real estate professionals all across North America about their wins, losses, lessons, and stories, help you win in your local market today. My name's Cody from Sheridan Street. I'm sitting next to Vikram Deol, my co-host of the Our Agent podcast. How you doing, my friend? For those that are listening back to the iTunes or Spotify, like I just slapped Vikram's knee and he got like really uncomfortable there for a second. So that was
I got a little aroused.
Okay.
You didn't slap my knee. You were like rubbing my inner thigh, like gripping it with like dear daddy love. That's exciting. It was exciting. How come you didn't give my company name, Cody?
The Real Estate Sales Academy.
Yeah, that's you guys see what I deal with here? Like it's all about Cody here. It's not all about Cody.
Those are blatant lies from the pit of hell.
So Cody had a fun night last night. He had a little date.
Yeah.
What was your date?
Well, I'm in Colombia. I'm enjoying life.
Yes.
Things are good. How are you though? How was your date?
Well, I had a date with the toilet. I had explosive diarrhea at 2:00 in the morning.
That's a very, very important information to
look. If we're gonna be real with each other and we're gonna be real with our audience, they need to know that they can trust us. That we're gonna always give them the truth.
The no like and trust factor.
Yeah, there might
not like you, but they trust you.
There might be a pair of boxers that need to get thrown away. We'll find out after the watch. So that's where we're at right now.
That's new information. But we have a very special guest with us today, and this was one of the weirdest intros that I think we ever had. But we have Souzan Davood.
Ooh, good job.
I think I know that. I know. I feel very accomplished already today. Like I'm super excited that I was able to do that. I don't know how to pronounce your name in Spanish. Maybe you can explain to us how to say it in Spanish.
Souzan.
Or is it the same thing?
Souzana?
Is it the same? Souzana? Okay.
Yeah, I think that's
work. Souzan, why don't you give us a high-level overview on who the heck you are, where you are in the world, and let us know like what you're up to, how long you've been in real estate. We kind of want to know all the things about you.
All the things.
Right. All the things. I have a little of dimensions. I'm not sure if I'm going to be able to fit all of this in 5 minutes, but I'll do my best. So I used to be in healthcare. And after my mom's sickness, I decided to change the total path and get into real estate and follow my passion. So I started my journey about 12 years ago with different companies. I've been going from one company to another, trying to get as much as experience as I can. And I landed in Coldwell Banker, and I absolutely love my office. I'm in Boston, Massachusetts, and there is a town called Newton, Massachusetts. And I've been practicing there for the past 12 years, and I absolutely love what I'm doing. I find a lot of passion, a lot of excitement. And I recently started growing my team. I have a team of 4 and growing. So that's it in a nutshell.
So you got into real estate 12 years ago. And what's the reason for growing a team?
One of the most important things, because I love to teach. I love to educate. And as I mentioned before, most of my team members, they don't have a real estate background. They've been in sales, but not in real estate. And I love coaching. And that's one of the reasons. And I believe in the power of residual income. So being able to have a different avenues and expand the team. Finding, I started with Massachusetts, and I have my California license, and I also have my Maine license. So I would like to go in different areas in the United States. That's another reason.
So I have a question. When you thought about starting a team, who was your first hire?
My first hire was Christine. She did only a couple of rentals prior to me, 5 years prior to that. And when she joined my team, her first year, she did a little over 120,000 in GCI.
Oh, wow.
So, she doesn't have a real estate background either. And I love coaching, teaching, and growing.
What's your ideology or your thought process behind hiring people that aren't necessarily they have sales background, but aren't necessarily have real estate specific background? Like what is your philosophy around that? And then what are some of the things that you take them through in order to develop them? Do you think good coaching looks like as a team lead?
So one of the reasons I hire them, it's I look for people with a big why. There must be a reason why they want to do it. And commission is not the reason. There should be a lot more than earning a commission. That's number one. Number two, the reason I hire, I would say like newbie, it's a lot easier to teach them and to set that foundation to practice, because there is, I believe in, especially in real estate, there is a lot of shiny things out there, right? Everybody wants to teach you, everybody wants to sell you a new lead generation system and so on and so forth. But I think you need to stick to the main thing, And the main thing is do the lead generation through the most authentic way. And I believe that that's the best way to grow your business. And it's a lot easier to teach that to a newbie.
What do you think? Yeah, like, so with your, like, what do you think has been like your biggest mistake you've made that maybe somebody else listening as a team lead that wants to grow a team? Because I think that right now in this space, like, there's a lot of teams dissolving. Like Vic and I have had a lot of these conversations. A lot of people are not in expanse mode right now. They're in like, how do I produce income for myself? And like, I have talked with so many real estate team leads that are like, just trying to focus on like their team's not producing at a high rate. So like, what are some mistakes that you made early on when you brought on those first like couple people that you could kind of help steer other people that want to build teams away from? Like, what are some of the things that you did or some of the mistakes you made along the way?
One of the mistakes that I did in the very beginning, thinking that I can do everything on my own and not delegating to different team members, or number one, like I used to do all my paperwork. I used to do everything on my own. And I think in order for you to grow, you need to be focused and you need to follow a system. And I think following this system is the main thing, because like when you start in a big company, like for instance in Coldwell Banker, you have everyone giving you a different opinion, different path that they've been on, and they think that works best for them. And really getting the most accurate information and immersing yourself in the education to know what is the main thing that you need to do. I think that was the biggest mistake that I did in the very beginning of my business.
So does your team structure, it sounds like you have admin staff now, or, okay. And is your admin local or virtual?
Virtual.
Okay. So I think this is an interesting question, because I talk to a lot of people who would love to hire somebody virtually, because you get really, I mean, we're here in Colombia. Majority of Cody's team's virtual. What was the transition of thinking about, I'm going to hire somebody locally to hire somebody overseas where you don't get to see what they're doing? Like, how do you manage expectations? How do you manage them? How do you know that they're doing what they say they're going to do? Like,
so I see the result. Like I don't do any cold calling. I do mainly myself. So it's mainly the paperwork. And so I see what
they're not prospecting for you. They're
not prospecting for me. My team is prospecting. So my team and I, we are prospecting. Like one of my team members, Michael Cash, he used to be the manager of Ferragamo. Again, he has that sales background. He comes from luxury. He understands the luxury market. And him and I, we do call empty nesters, because I believe this is the next big lead generation, empty nesters. So we have a database that we make daily call. Every day we dedicate 3 hours to make those calls to empty nesters. I like to do that because believe it or not, talking about cold calling, I don't believe in dialing. Like I take my time. I truly search every home before I make the call. I need to know who am I talking to, what they're doing, how long they have known them, because I'd rather have one meaningful conversation than have a big net and see if something will stick, if that makes sense to you.
Yeah. I want to dive deeper into that, because that's a very interesting philosophy that you have around business, like, the depth versus the width. And I think that in the real estate industry, like something we are missing is the depth of relationship. And me and Vic were chatting about this week, about like changing even our language from, these leads and these prospects to like future clients. Like if we treated everyone like a future client, and we rolled out a red carpet experience for every single person that we spoke with, we would all do more business. So I'm curious to know the script or the frameworks that you're using in order to have these conversations. So you're gathering the information, you are calling this person, like what, like for somebody that is saying like, I want to do that. I want to do the depth versus width. Like, how do they do that? Like, what are some of your steps that you've put together in a process that allow you to have meaningful conversations?
I would say, again, change your mindset from getting a lead, converting the lead into be able to be a good listener and a problem solver. So I think I'm a professional and I'm here to help them, assist them to take them from point A to point B. And this is what I'm doing. I'm not looking at basically that this is a sales call. And I think, again, having a healthcare background, I never act as a salesperson. I'm here to listen and I'm able to deliver what their needs are. I'm not sure if I mentioned this, but when I got into the business, I did not count on my sphere of influence. Most of my friends, I know that's a totally different thing. So my sphere of influence, they moved away from Massachusetts. Of course, being cold, they migrated to California or Arizona and so on and so forth. So right off bat, I knew two things. I wanted to break into the luxury and I wanted to hit expired listings because I'm here to solve the problem that they have. And so I started my business with expired listings. And I think being able to listen, being able to know what went wrong, and you're the problem solver. I think that's what the scripts is all about, asking open-ended questions. And that's so important. And knowing what is it that they want, what happened, what went wrong, and make a recommendation. We are here just to make a recommendation. They can take it, they can use it, they can utilize the information and have a successful sell or not. And that's okay. And that's okay if they don't believe in what you're saying, and that's okay. Next, there's somebody else that needs your help.
So here's what I'm hearing, and I'm going to see if this is correct or not. When you meet somebody or when you're making a call, and here's what I think a lot of agents don't do well is you gather data, but you only have to gather that data once on the person, because once it's in your CRM, then you just go back and when you're dialing, you can pull up the information.
Correct.
And then the second thing, so when people hear, oh my God, she's spending 5-10 minutes every time making a call. No, you do it one time. And this is even something that you could have a virtual assistant scrub for you, right? So it's already in your CRM. So if you don't enjoy, like I wouldn't enjoy doing that. That would drive me crazy. So I would have somebody else scrub the data, put it into the CRM. And then when I'm making my calls, I would just have it populate, like Cody and I were talking about how to automate some of the data we get from the podcast. Cause we do so many interviews. I was like, there's got to be a better way. And Cody's a genius at that. And half an hour later, he figured it out. I'm like, oh my God, this is amazing. So the one is that you can have other people do it or you can do it yourself. But two, you talked about being a conscious communicator. That's what I call it in my world. This is what I teach to my clients, to be a conscious communicator. And being conscious means you're present. You're not looking at your cell phone. You're not paying attention to the people walking around you. You're not talking to your assistant. You're not talking to the other people in the office. You're glued to the screen. You're making your calls. You have your information. And when that person picks up the phone, you expect them to pick up the phone. And when they do, you're ready for the call. And when you're ready for the call, it allows you to actually listen to the prospect, which is probably the most important part of sales.
True statement. And I think knowing the personality. So when you're talking, that's one of the things that I also teach to my team members. Again, wearing a different hat, knowing the person that you're talking to, knowing their personality, matching their personality, finding commonality so you can break the ice and you can have valuable conversation with that person. I think that's what is so important. That's why I'm not on a dialer, because on the dialer, I'm just a salesperson. I'm trying to break through. Somebody pick up the phone so I can have conversation with. And it doesn't work for me. It might work for a lot of agents. It doesn't work for me particularly.
I'm really curious, and I want to shift gears here into the clients that you serve. And the reason I'm curious is as we were kind of like preparing for the podcast, I saw that you spoke like 5 different languages. And I recently spoke at a NAREP event about when we were there, like October of last year. I spoke at that NAREP event.
I don't even know what country I'm in anymore.
Okay.
So sure, let's go.
Anyways, we'll call it October of last year. And one of the interesting stats that one of the lenders had told us was they're estimating that in the United States alone, over the next 20 years, 70% of home buyers, first-time home buyers, are going to be Spanish speaking. And you happen to speak Spanish. You happen to serve, like, I'm guessing you serve multiple speaking, multiple bilingual. Yeah. Yeah. So like, what, like, is that like a requirement for your entire team? Or do you find that like you are able to service more people because you're able to speak different languages? Should real estate team leads be making this a priority over the next 20 years? Like what are some of your concepts and ideas around that?
That's a good question. So for me to team up, it wasn't based on the languages that they speak, although one of my team members speaks Mandarin. So it does help. Absolutely, it does. But I think speaking different languages, the number one thing that has served me to be able to connect with different cultures. And again, like when you're selling an expired listing, also it helps a lot. Everybody's needs is so different. And we all are the product of the way we've been brought up, right? So different cultures and different beliefs and so on and so forth. Again, being able to connect to people. And that's what it has served me, to connect to people, to understand them better. And yeah, definitely, it's definitely is useful to be able, especially if you live in a cities that there are a lot of high-tech companies. It absolutely serves with relocation, right? Speaking different languages.
So we are in a market where there's a lot of people that say the leads have dried up, the market has dried up, the buyers have dried up, the sellers have dried up, and I don't get that same tone from your. We haven't talked about it, but I don't get the same vibe that your business is dried up. It might have shifted and changed in the last 24 months, and you might be doing some things differently. But you have a unique skill. You have a team that is somewhat unique, and the way you train them and educate them and lead them and all the things that you're doing. What are you seeing in the marketplace? Like, what are you seeing with your team that's allowing you guys to win? Because we're talking to people that are dissolving teams, and you at the beginning of the call said, I am growing. I'm for and growing. So what are you seeing and what are you doing that is allowing you to have this growth trajectory, whereas a lot of teams are contracting?
So I think one of the most important things is with the shifting market. So I started 12 years ago and I already seen 3 different markets. And I think the most important is to be continuously student, to learn and to sharpen your skills and to become better with every shifting market. Like the way we were pricing properties before, even like 3 months ago, it's totally different than the way you're pricing, right? To be able to shift with the market. It's like a fine dance, right? To be able to do the dance. And as far as like the lead generation, and again, like I mentioned earlier, they are downsizers, empty nesters are the big thing now. And also investment properties, people with multiple investment properties. So one of the databases that I use, and again, this is for a lot of new, even skills or new agents, if you don't have tons of money to pour into lead generation, there is something called Remind. It's on MLS. I don't know if you guys heard of it, Remind. Every MLS has that. In my particular market, in Massachusetts, we have to pay $199, but pretty much in like 40-some states, it's free. And you can find empty nesters, you can find expired listings, you can find tons of information there. And they spread it toward like if it's expired listing, you can go back a year and he will give you the most accurate information. You can get their phone number, you can get their email address, and it's for free. Why not utilize that MLS thing? Again, being a student, learning every time that there is a shifting market, there is a new stuff that is being added to MLS. Just know what's going on. As a real estate agent, just be aware of what's going on. Every morning you wake up, add one thing to your list. And Remind is one of them. Just to answer, I think there are tons of information that they can get and it's for free. Why not? That's the way you can expand, right? By lead generating.
Are you putting more effort into lead generate? Are you present on social media?
I am and I'm not. I'm actually, that's one of the things I'm more on Instagram, but I'd like to grow more, and I would like to do, that's one of my do lists, to do more videos. And we just recently hired a videographer that it's going to be following us, doing more lifestyle videos and stuff, so on and so forth. Yeah.
Cool. And then are you guys putting more effort in this year than you were last year? Are you making, 3 hours of calls times 4 or 5 people, that's 15 hours a day, that's 60 hours a week. That's more than the normal real estate agent will do in their whole 4 years of their career before they go get a job at McDonald's. So are you doing, did I say that out loud? Oh my God. Oh, I'm not sorry. I'm not.
Well, that's a good thing about shifting market, right?
It's like diarrhea of the marketplace. I know all about that. Are you guys putting in more effort for lead gen? Are you doing more open houses? Are you doing more door knocking, cold calls? Are you doing more so consistent that your momentum is staying the same?
We are doing more. Market is shifting. We still have low inventory, and we want to create the inventory. So I would say we are doing more. It's really, last year, 2 years ago, homes were selling faster, right? And there was more transaction happening. Now we still have low inventories. So yes, we are investing more time in making the calls, knowing what the niche is and knowing where we can get more leads. Absolutely. Yes. Yeah.
I love that. I love the niche marketing because it's something that we talk about consistently, like going after niche market, understanding, creating depth, coming at them with a really great offer. Like we always, me and Vic talk about this often, like no amount of marketing can fix a shitty offer. Like you can't get an eyeball on something if you're not like willing to actually listen to them and get a good offer out in front of them. So I'm really fascinated by your business. And I just, like Souzan, I just really appreciate more than anything your time today. If somebody were to want to reach out to you, and maybe it's an agent to agent referral that they want to chat with you specifically about your market, where is kind of the best place that we can send them so that they can have that conversation with you?
Email, text, phone, social media, name it. Is that what you were asking?
You're everywhere. Yeah. What would be the best way for them? What would be the easiest way for you?
Yeah.
Because there could be tens of millions and billions of people listening to this because we are the number one. So where should they go? Would Instagram be the best place?
Sure, Instagram or my website. Yep. I would like.
What is that?
Even when people come to Instagram or any social media, I think at the end, I'd like to have them in my website. That's where all the activity is. So SouzanDavood.com. Easy.
Super simple. Souzan, I want to say thank you more than anything for joining us today. And I want to say thank you for tuning into another episode of the RE Agent Podcast, the #1 real estate podcast in the world. We'll see you soon.
Bye.